Over the last 2 weeks, we've had the biggest AI updates in terms of design that we've ever had in the history. And what used to take us about an hour to do a design now takes upwards of maybe 10 minutes maximum. And this has been a case for multiple ad creatives and creators in general. But what hasn't been true for is email design. This has consistently been one of the bottlenecks for agencies and e-commerce brands, is needing these designers to come in and create these massive emails because AI wasn't proficient yet until now. And so what I want to do is I want to test whether ChatGPT or Claude is the better use case for email design as we stand right now, so that you know which one to spend your time getting proficient in and which one is going to save you the most amount of time with the highest quality output. So what I'm going to rate this on is number 1, speed of delivery, number 2, accuracy and quality of delivery, which means that the design overall, and then number 3, which one is the easiest use case for you to use continuously. I'm going to rank it on that so that you know exactly which one to put your time into. So let me jump into it. All right, so first thing is I want to show you Claude, and I want to show you the 2 different options that you have. So on Claude, you have 2 options. You can just go straight to designs, and you can create a project for a specific design. So let's just say that we are doing a design for Groons. Design project. Right, so we're just going to name it, and what we're going to choose is high fidelity, and we can go to create. And now this is going to work the same way that you use Claude in general. You're going to basically use prompts, you're going to give it references, and you're going to go from there. And you can also start with a sketch and show you how, or show it how you want the design to be done. So the best way to do this is we're going to go to Groon's website, and we are also going to go to Mild, right? And so what we want to do is we want to find some brand structures and emails so that we can just basically steal it, right? So let's go verify. And this is Groon's website. So what we want to do is I'm going to personally take a picture, a screenshot of their entire website so we can understand the branding. And I'm going to tell it exactly who we're doing the design for. So give it a second. It's going to download this entire screenshot. We're going to save this and we're going to go back to our project. And what I'm going to do is give it a brief. So I'm going to say I am doing a email design for groons.com. I have attached their website for branding and color inspiration. Perfect. And what I'm going to do is just copy paste the link. Let me go over here. All right, perfect. So while this loads, I am going to take a look at some brands that I really like the designs of, right? So let's just take a look. Liquid IV is the first one, and I just use milk.com. It has all the brands that I personally follow for email design. So I like this structure. I think this is a decent email. So I'm going to save this. And what I'm going to do is I am maybe going to go to this one. This one's decent. I quite like this as well. And then let's go to Ring Pop Cherry. Cool. So we're going to download this one as well. So I like to get 3 or 4 references and then give it an inspo. Right, perfect. And so I'm going to just upload this. And then it will ask me probably some questions just for clarification. So let me upload that. And then once this is done uploading and it takes all that information, I am then going to start logging these designs. So let's go here. Perfect. I'm going to attach that. All right, so we're going to take 3 different designs. And you can see that it's going to ask me questions. So I like this because I do like to be vague, so they can ask me a bunch of questions and I can answer for it. So let me go and answer some of these. This is going to be a product launch or a new flavor. It's going to be to, let's just say, existing customers. We want to make it a subscribe and save email. We want it to be punchy and playful, like their website. How many design variations? I'm going to keep it to 3 variations. What should the variations explore? So let's do different layout structures, email length. Let's keep it medium. Which modules to include? Product chart, ingredient highlights, and we want it to be benefits. All right, imagery, and recreate product packaging in CSV. Perfect. Any specific product or headline? So let's just give it a little bit of a brief. So it's not. Let's just do this. Finally, the vitamin that the kids want. Kids want equals headline. And then I can give it a bunch of different information. I'm purposefully just going to keep it pretty vague. And we want to make sure that it is table-based. Let's just make it modern only. Would be most useful. Let's just do that. All right, cool. And what we want to do is continue. Cool. So I like to personally, like I said, just keep things super, super vague so they can go ahead and generate something for me. So what I'm going to do is use these as inspo. What I'm going to do is wait for it to give me an output, and then I'm going to probably give it this input just to go and change some things. So I'm going to pause until it actually gives me that output just to save you a little bit of time. All right, so it just spat out everything without me needing to give any edits. All I did was give it a very brief idea of who I'm generating for, gave it a screenshot of the website, and then told it what I want the headline to be. And above that, it just asked me some questions, and this is the output. In my opinion, this is pretty decent. Usually you need a designer to go ahead and ideate on all of this and then put these, functions together. And so what I like is it is also a really great foundation to send to a design team instead of them trying to ideate and understand what you exactly mean. And what we can go ahead and do is at the top here, we can actually go ahead and edit. So we can go here, we can choose what we want to edit specifically. So let's just say, finally, we want to change to, we want to change the color on this for whatever reason. And so we can change it to that, right? So instead of you having to give edits, brief edits, go back and forth, you can actually go change everything yourself. And even this, we can just delete entirely. Now, obviously, I haven't given it product images, and you can easily go ahead and do that. And so what we can do is we can go to their website, we'll just kind of take an image that we like and remove the background and then throw it in here. So it's a pretty good starting point. You can also go ahead and draw, and you can say, this area. So let's just say, we want this, and we can easily give a brief, and we can say, hey, change this, blah, 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 whatever you want. But it's pretty straightforward. Keep in mind, I have not gone ahead and added these as inspo. So this is an optional step, and I'll just show you what it can look like if you do throw this in, and then give it maybe a product image or something. All right, so it's really not so bad. Of course, it's not our preference. It's not the highest converting emails you can get. But if you're a brand that doesn't have a team available, or, considering that this is just a first batch with very minimal input and you can change so much more to this, this is a pretty good, strong start. Considering that it's editable, considering that you can just do so much with this and keep giving it prompts to get closer, this is a great starting point for you to be able to do high quality designs, especially since this is the worst it's ever going to be. So that concludes the first way to do it on Claude. I'm going to jump to the second way, and probably my favorite way. We are back at claude.ai/design, and what we're going to do is, instead of using this that we used last time, we're going to click on design systems, and we're going to click on create system, right? So it's going to take us to the screen, and this is where we're going to create a bunch of information about the brand specifically. And what I really like about this is we can now upload a Figma file, we can add fonts, logos, and assets, so we can continuously pull from it. So I'm going to gather all of this, and I'm going to upload it, and then I'll update you when that is done. All right, so I have just given it a full brief, and what I've done is I just went to Grun's website, I went to their story page, and I downloaded a bunch of their information. So what their mission is, who they are, what they do, blah, blah, blah. Then what I did, most importantly, is I uploaded a Figma file of some of our downloads or designs for another brand that we work with. So take a look at this. Super simple designs that the owner likes, and this can work really well for Gruns because we don't want to overcomplicate the process since it is a little bit more in its infancy. So we just downloaded this as a local file on Figma, which you can go over here. You just go to File, Export, and then you save it as a local file. What you can then do is upload that Figma file. It's going to pull all those frames. And then I went and found this website called Brand Fetch, and I just downloaded all of the info and, basically assets from Gruns. And that is what I've uploaded over here, as well as finding a few of their product images with no transparent background and uploaded those as well. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I've given information about all of that, and I'm going to go to continue generation. And it is going to say that it will take a few minutes to create the design system. So I'm going to pause and come back once this is done. All right, so this is crazy. Take a look at this, and this is why this system is my preference. So with all of the context that I gave it, as well as the references, as well as a little bit more of an added on brief. So you can see here, I just gave it a bit of an idea of what formula we like to use, and you can pause the video and copy paste this brief as well. I just basically gave it a little bit more information to make sure that it does what I need. And it took a little bit of time, took a little bit longer than 5 minutes. But with that being said, take a look at this, right? It's generated a full email, and I can very easily just go ahead and, quite frankly, like copy paste this entire thing into my marketing. So it's got this little headline with subscribe and save. It's got their logo up there. Keep in mind, I can make changes to this. This is like the perfect email. It's got a perfect button over here. It's got the headline that I wanted, and even highlighted, add some like design psychology based on the references I gave it. Generated this image, gave it this kind of line over here, as well as code to use, an infographic that I think is to the T exactly what I need, as well as this infographic, and then another CTA. So based on the formula that we use for high converting emails, this nails it. This is a complete email that you can literally go export, put it into your backend, and it took maybe 10 minutes maximum to generate this maximum output that does everything you need. All I did was I gave it a little bit of detail, I gave it the product image to use, and then I broke down exactly what formula we use for high converting emails. I gave it those references, and voila, everything is done. So this is the perfect way to build an email, in my opinion. In 2026, you no longer need a design team. Everything works perfectly. So if we go navigate, we can go ahead and find this email. And now we can just go here and we can edit it as we need. Like, this is crazy. I am terrified for design teams because this is changing everything about it. So this is how to build an email with Claude Design. Now let's see what the outcome will be with ChatGPT. All right, so I'm just going to use the search ChatGPT instead of the desktop one. And what I'm going to do is I am going to create an image. So I'm clicking on create an image, and I'm basically going to steal the prompt that I used in the previous one. So again, you can pause and basically copy paste it, but I'm going to steal the prompt and then I'm going to generate it that way. First though, I do want to make sure I'm choosing the correct aspect ratio. So I'm going to choose story just because it is the closest to an email, and then I'll probably just go make edits. So this is the prompt that I copy pasted. So create an email design for Groons.co using this image with this headline. So let me just go ahead and give it some content to use. So I want to add this, which I just found online. And you can check another brand, by the way, and just use that. And what I want to do, so let's use this first, or let's use the same image we used for the previous one. We want to use this, and then I want to go ahead and just upload that for now. Take a look at the rest. So using the inspo designs from Liquid IV. So let me just go copy paste those, and I'm giving it the same formula. So for example, the hero visual follows formula for design, the hero visual, blah, 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 and then second section, CTA. Perfect. And so let me just go upload that, and then I will give you an update once it's complete. It is way faster than Claude, so I'll show you the final output once it's ready. All right, so take a look at this. ChatGPT does an incredible design as well, and this is a little bit more minimal without focusing too much on the formula for conversion, but this works just as well. If you want to do a short send out to your audience with a very simple CTA and build out, this is probably the way to go. It is way quicker. It took me less than 4 minutes. The image generation for like a hero visual is ideal, like it's the highest quality. And so if you really wanted to, you could mix it up. You could generate a high visual quality visual with a headline on ChatGPT and then upload it into Claude as the inspo. So you can use multiple AI platforms. But considering the brief that I gave it, as well as the minimal edits needed, this is a really high quality output as well. So it's more preference based. What do you like the look of? What needs the least amount of input for you, and where are you constrained, or where do you feel like you don't have as much freedom? The benefit of Claude is that everything is editable. To me, that is a non-negotiable. You want to be able to edit things easily instead of re-prompting this over and over and over again. Granted, you can just easily go ahead and do that, right? We can go select a specific area. So let's just go select the headline, and we want to change this to the headline to a subscribe and save today only, 52% off. right? So we can easily go ahead and give it a very specific highlighted area and it will only change that. So that's fine. But for me, it is way easier to be able to click on a section, move it up and down, then re-prompt on, hey, move this to the right, move this to the left, make it this, make it that. That is a little bit more difficult. And the continuation of design isn't as clean as Claude, in my opinion. I also think that Claude is continuously and actively going to overtake ChatGPT by a mile. It already has in all other facets with its functionality. But in terms of design, I think they're pretty equal right now, especially ChatGPT being slightly ahead in terms of not needing as much output, not as many credits, and being a little bit easily accessible for anyone to just quickly prompt it than building a system. But you can see how it quickly went ahead and made this change without editing anything else. It is super quick. The output is super quick. So it's really up to you as the user. But I think all in all, AI is showing us this massive highlight where we don't need design teams anymore, and we specifically don't need these massive teams to put emails together. It's shifting, and this is what we know within our agency. It is shifting from you as an e-commerce brand or you as an agency needing a full design team and full strategist to making sure that those people know how to use AI, interpret information, and create outputs based on that information. So would this email be any use if you're targeting the wrong people? Probably not. And that's why you need an expert team to go and do this. And is it completely fluent enough that it can replace an entire team right now? Absolutely not. Will it happen in a few months? Inevitably. There's no question about it. So the role that your agency should be playing and that we play for our clients is we are the efficient system. We're building the systems for them. They should not, and you internally should not have to think about all of this. You already have so many outputs. And so what we do for our clients is we're strategically thinking of systems that will make things more efficient for our clients. We're using all of the access of hundreds of brands that we work with and pulling data from all of them to understand exactly what works, what headlines have performed best, etc., etc. So we have a data point that we can pull from. So if anything, agencies are becoming way more necessary right now because they can pull from multiple industries, multiple data points, whereas you only have your brand to go off of and your backend. So the agency shift is happening and the need for output is changing. You can now output much faster and there's way less excuses for things being delayed, which is great for you as an e-commerce brand. But at the end of the day, do you still need an agency or someone to come and manage this? Definitely. Who's going to take the time to do these briefs and understand the formula to create a system around it and know what changes to make? It still needs human input. But this is as close as we've gotten to modern day efficiency around email design that we've ever had in history. So pay attention. I'm going to keep doing updates as they get updates as well and as they become more proficient. But with that being said, if you want to work with an agency that can do all of this for you, then go down below, book in a call. Would love to work with your e-commerce brand if you're doing more than $50,000 per month. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to keep pushing out these updates, so pay attention.